Hey guys, welcome to today's reading. Today we are going to be getting some messages from your spirit guides. So we're going to tune into your spirit guides and see what they have to say to you, see what they want you to know, and bring forth some messages from them. Today we have some celestial symbols for you guys to choose from. So if you are new to this channel, welcome. I'm so happy to have you. And basically you're going to see which of these symbols is really sticking out to you, calling your name and your energy and your attention towards it. And then as soon as you've decided which of the symbols is the right one for you, you can scroll down to the timestamps in the comments and the description and jump into the pile that's right for you. That will have the message that you need to hear from your guides. Today we are going to start off with that moon symbol. That's pile 1. Then we have pile 2 as the little circular sun, and pile 3 is the star. And if you guys want to see more of my content, then be sure to check out my Patreon. I just posted a reading that's an early love, early dating reading. So perfect for someone you just started seeing early in the relationship if you want to know what they're feeling and thinking. And then I also posted a reading all about what you're destined to have in this lifetime. So what is meant to be yours in this lifetime. We get into all of it, and there's so many readings to choose from over on Patreon. Over 60 readings about love, career, spirituality, money, so many topics over there, and you guys suggest and vote on new topics, so it's very interactive. So if you would like to join our little Patreon community, then head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments and the description, and I would love to have you there. Also, if you want to get a private one-on-one reading with me, you can also get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and you can sign up for a half hour or a full hour-long session with me, have me pull tarot for you, read your astrology for you, channel for you, and you get to ask me about love, career, an energy check-in, you're ahead, basically whatever you want, because it's your time. Of course, within reason. There's certain topics that I don't like to go into, but most topics are totally allowed, and it's your time to use how you see fit. So if you want to get a reading with me, then head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link for that is in my description. Thank you guys so much for watching. So now if you need more time to decide, you can totally feel free to rewind, pause, and take as much time as you need. But we're going to go ahead and jump into pile 1. Hey, pile 1, welcome to your reading. We're going to start off shuffling some message cards for you guys to see what message your spirit guides have for you. So we got savor your life, passion and pleasure, and miracles. Expect the wondrous to emerge. The first message I was hearing in my mind as I tuned into this energy for you is like you're so close to something, and it's almost like don't give up now, or don't get dejected. Don't start feeling like it can't happen. Don't allow the negativity to take over your mind, because there's something that you're so close to having that I feel like you've wanted for a really long time, and it's almost like you're right there, it's within reach, and I feel like you just have to kind of keep going. With this savor your life card, this can talk about really taking the time out to enjoy. Though sometimes when we do have a goal in mind, we can just pursue that so relentlessly and kind of neglect our mental health, our physical health, our emotional health, so it's kind of like if you force yourself to work through another day and you're literally hating what you're doing and you're in such a negative place about it, maybe you'd be better off taking a little rest day, taking a break, going and seeing some friends, or going for a walk, or just even laying in bed all day and reading your favorite book, or watching a movie, or even a reality show that just takes your mind off things. I always remember this, and Spirit's bringing to my mind, but when I was going to take the SATs, my parents hired a tutor for me, mostly because I was really bad at the math section. So the night before the exam, he ordered me that I had to watch a funny movie, and he specifically said I had to watch Dumb and Dumber, and I was like, I don't like funny movies. I definitely don't want to watch Dumb and Dumber. So I argued to him that I could watch like Legally Blonde or something more my speed, and he agreed, but he was adamant that I had to not do any studying that night, not do any cramming. That at that point, the final night, the most important thing for me to do was to relax, to enjoy, and to just take a load off and get my mind into a really restful place. So that night, that's exactly what I did. I followed everything he said. I went and watched some kind of a comedy, even though that's not normally what I would pick. And I just went to bed early and like maybe did a face mask or something, just relaxed. Meanwhile, all my friends were like cramming the night before, stressing out. And I did do really well on the verbal SATs. I always want to mention that I got an 800. So that's like the one thing that I feel super proud about academically. So I'm always going to mention it. But on the verbal section, not like total, obviously. But my point is, you know, sometimes even though to me it made no sense and I was like, why is he literally making me take a break the night before? Like, why? I really didn't want to have to go sit down and watch a comedy. It's just not my thing. But he was like, what needs to happen is your brain needs to get into a really relaxed state. And I honestly wonder if I could have tested that high if I had been cramming the night before. Because when I was in college, I would get into this habit of pulling all-nighters, cramming, trying to, you know, read everything the night before. And I never really did super well on those tests that I would cram for, that I would pull all-nighters for. I really think there's something to be said for getting into that energy of relaxation, for coming from a positive place, from just having your mind in a relaxed, open state. So if there's something you've been wanting to build, wanting to do, maybe you need to just act like you already have it. Act like you're already there, act like it's already yours. And what would your mindset be if you already were there? We got expect the wondrous to emerge. So, you know, I think sometimes when we expect ourselves to do well, when we think this is no peace, no trouble, nothing to worry about, we do really well. Another thing, not to harp on that, but they're bringing up that metaphor again with that SAT test, is I had actually taken the SAT twice. And so basically I was redoing it for my math score because my math score wasn't like horrible, but it wasn't great. And I had done really well in the English section before. I think I got like mid 700s. But basically my tutor had said, we're not even going to focus on the verbal section. We're not going to even go over that because that's already like done and you've already done really well. You get to keep your highest score. So basically that was already set. And it was mostly just, I was entirely focusing on the math section. And I really think that made a big difference on the test day because I was literally so relaxed when I was taking the writing and the reading vocabulary section. I almost didn't finish it. I remember thinking like, you know, I'm really focused on the math. There's no real point. I'm already super happy with my score. So maybe I should just like sit this one out and focus on resting for the math. But ultimately, I'm ADHD. I didn't really feel like sitting still for like 30, 40 minutes while everyone else took the verbal section. So I was just like, no, let me fill this out. And I've literally, I don't think ever in my life been more chilled out, relaxed, not taken something so seriously as when I took that verbal SAT, the final one, and then I got a perfect score. So honestly, I really do think that there's something to be said for doing something not necessarily sloppily or not putting effort in, but doing it from a place of expectancy. I already expected that I was going to do well. I already knew that I had a better score, you know, in the bag. And so it was like there was zero pressure. And I think we can all think of examples in our life when we just kind of like assume something's going to work out, or we come in super chilled out, we come in feeling really great, and we do even better than we could have imagined. We're so removed from the outcome. We're so like relaxed that it ends up going above and beyond. And so I feel like for a lot of you guys, whatever this is that you're trying to build, imagine that feeling of just being so completely relaxed about it, so completely divorced from the outcome, not fixated, not worried, not even a little stressed, totally chill. That's the energy that I feel like Spirit is calling you to be in. So if you knew that things were going to work out, you wouldn't stress out on these tiny little minute details or put yourself under so much pressure that I have to get this done. It has to be perfect. You just focus on the big picture and be like, yeah, I know what's going to happen. And that's not to say you don't do any work. Like if I'd sat there in the test and hadn't filled out any of the little questions, I wouldn't have gotten that score. But when we do the work, we can do it in a manner that's relaxed, that's easy, that's expectant, and that's knowing that we have good things coming our way. Let's get one more message card for pile number 1. What message do we have for pile number 1? Impasse. Reflect and redirect your energy. And journey by moonlight, believe in magic. So I really do feel like not so much that you're at an impasse, but maybe there's a little pause, or maybe there's a moment for you to kind of chill out a little. If you've been like going a million miles an hour, if you've been pushing yourself really hard, or even if you haven't been pushing yourself, but you've been, I think sometimes people like they're not actually working, but it's not because they're being lazy. It's because they're so in their head about it has to be perfect, it has to be right. When I think of the energy of me pulling all-nighters in college and staying up all night and stressing so much about it, that's what it was, is I was like, I have to do well on this test. And then inevitably I'd be super tired, super stressed, wouldn't be even retaining the information, and I wouldn't do as well as I could have if I had probably just gotten a good night's sleep. So sometimes we got to kind of like take a step back. It may seem counterintuitive. That night when all my friends were like, oh yeah, I'm studying tonight and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we're going to meet up together and we're all going to, study in groups or whatever. I mean, I felt like pretty stupid being like, okay, here's, me watching this movie and just laying in bed and eating some ice cream, and like that didn't really seem to me like I was actually doing anything, and yet it had the best result. So sometimes it's not to say we're giving up on something, but it's like we're giving ourselves a little bit more freedom as well. I think sometimes we have to give ourselves just freedom to fail, even freedom, like if this doesn't work out, if it's not perfect, that's okay too. It doesn't have to look exactly like I pictured. Sometimes, the best things that happen are kind of like happy accidents, things we didn't expect to go a certain way, things we weren't planning to look, that way, and yet it's literally perfect. So I think for you guys, maybe being a little bit less rigid and just allowing the energy to flow. And when we allow the energy to flow, usually spirit will give us guidance about exactly where we should head next. Let's get some more cards for pile number 1. Let's get into some tarot for pile 1. What does pile 1 need to know right now? 8 of Swords, okay. The High Priestess. So with the 8 of Swords right now, you could literally be being blocked from knowing what's going on. Sometimes I think when spirit has something big in store for us, it doesn't want to show us everything. It doesn't want to spoil the surprise. It's kind of like if you have a surprise party planned, your friend, like I always think, sometimes they'll tell stories about a surprise party, and I always think I would like sense this out because it just seems kind of sketch, like right before your birthday, because they'll tell these stories and they'll be like, yeah, so basically what happened is I said we should go out to lunch, but of course the party wasn't ready and I kept ordering extra like desserts and stuff, but everyone was texting me like the party's not ready yet, don't come over. So then I told them that we had to go to this store, but I hate that store, so it was really sketchy, and and then I ended up pretending that I had a flat tire and I had to test the tire pressure or something. And I'm like, I don't know. To me, I feel like I would know this, but you must be thinking in that moment, like, what is this friend of mine doing? Like, this is so weird. Suddenly they're like holding me hostage and making me go to like Home Depot and look around for no reason. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it always feels like something starts going left before the surprise party and they have to end up wasting time. And I feel like sometimes that's what happens to us in life. Sometimes it's in those moments where we're like, what are you doing, spirit? Like, what is happening? What is going on? Why is this going on? What happened to this trajectory that I was supposed to be on? Like, why has this gone left? And that's literally the moment before the surprise party, before the breakthrough, So sometimes when we can't really see how it's going to work out, when we're not really sure what's going on, that's kind of like when spirit is cooking. It's kind of also like I just saw the image of like a mom chasing her kids out of the kitchen. I know for me, my mom wasn't like a huge like baker type person with always like cakes and fun like things to eat around. She'd cook like dinner and stuff, but once in a while, she'd be like, everyone out of the kitchen, I'm cooking something special, and then usually it was like something really cool, like someone's birthday cake, or on Christmas, cinnamon rolls. That was like our tradition, things like that, something really special, not just like, hey, I'm making meatloaf and everyone get out of the kitchen. It was always like something we were gonna love, and she wanted us to be surprised. She wanted us to like start smelling those cinnamon rolls baking, or start, wondering, is it a birthday cake? Start imagining what kind of flavor it would be. Part of the surprise and part of the fun was in the not knowing, and in the like, you don't really have any idea what's going on right now, So I think sometimes, as hard as it is to be in that moment, to be in an Eight of Swords moment where we really don't know what's happening, there may be a huge blessing on the other side of it. We got the Wheel of Fortune card as well. And so, yeah, things can definitely be, working in your favor. With the Wheel of Fortune, it's upright, which means that luck is probably on your side. We do have the Five of Swords as well. And the Five of Swords can talk about losses, shady situations, people that are coming against us in some way. And sometimes it's just a message to kind of stop and redirect our energy. Sometimes it's a message that we don't have to fight every battle. We don't have to go head to head with things. We don't have to keep trying with everything. So if there's something where you do feel stuck, I almost feel like this could be a message to like, pause and allow yourself a little bit more freedom, allow yourself to relax a little bit, and not be so hard on yourself. You know what I mean? Sometimes I think we put ourselves under so much pressure that we have to win everything, that we have to fight every battle, every person who's nasty to us, we have to like deal with them. And we have to, always be like waging war with something and moving forward in some direction. Sometimes the best thing we can do is kind of stay calm, stay chill, and actually just pause and enjoy things. It's bringing to my mind, like, not to, I know everyone's always like, oh, you obsessively talk about Taylor Swift, which, sorry if that's the case. I just think she's so interesting in like with all the things that have gone down in the past few years. So interesting with her. And obviously this week, I don't know if anyone else was paying attention, but like one of the people that she had called out for buying her masters, I guess, got fired by everyone. And it's just so interesting to see the karma happen, that like, I feel like it's just crazy. Like everything that happened in 2016 with Kim and Kanye, and now with this other manager, it feels like Taylor is like at the peak of her career, and meanwhile these other people have just suffered like L after L after L after L, And I think it's just funny because it's taken like what, 7 years. Sometimes it's like we don't get to see exactly how something is going to develop. Sometimes we just have to have that blind faith and that trust that things are going to work out. Sometimes it takes longer than we think, or it happens in a way we wouldn't expect. Sometimes it may look like we lost a battle in the meantime, which I would say it looked like in 2016 with Taylor, and then it's actually the biggest come up. So we shouldn't even be afraid of a Five of Swords moment, a moment when maybe we have a little defeat, or someone seems to win a battle, or someone seems to come against us and win, because spirit also has karma. And keep in mind, with the Wheel of Fortune, it always flips. So whenever we're on the bottom, we will be on the top, and vice versa. So if some of you guys are being bothered now by people who have been nasty to you in your past, or things have been seeming unfair, just know that eventually things will flip, and that spirit is taking care of all the karma in this situation. Spirit is paying attention to everything. All you need to do is focus on your mission, your guidance, your calling from spirit with this High Priestess card, your intuition, and making sure that you're following that path. And whatever happens to anyone else, trust and believe that it will be managed appropriately, even if right now in the moment it doesn't look that way. Let me get some more cards. Spirit, what do you want pile number one to know what message we have from spirit guides. The moon. So another highly intuitive card. We have Cancer represented here and Pisces as well with the moon. So yeah, very intuitive energies. You guys may be highly psychic right now. This may be a good time for you to be dream journaling, for you to be writing down your visions. And with the Nine of Cups, I do feel like there's a message for you to also really think about chilling out a little or relaxing. I feel like that message is really strong. It's almost like if you feel like taking a day off and, you know, sleeping in a little and cooking yourself up something really delicious or having some wine or relaxing. I feel like that is definitely a message that spirit would be totally fine with. I just feel like spirit wants you to stop pushing yourself on a crazy pace or stop, you know, being hard on yourself. And some of you guys may be questioning a lot the point you're at in your life. Maybe you thought you would be at a different place, or maybe you've just been going through it. You know, maybe you've just been dealing with a lot of stuff. But I do feel like there's a message of like the best thing you can do is get yourself into a happy vibe, look after yourself, take care of yourself. And that's going to actually get you closer to your destination. Sometimes it's in those times when nothing seems to be happening that actually we get the biggest downloads. You know, I always think of, I mean, the moon, for example, a highly psychic card, a highly psychic planet, and Pisces as well is Pisces is the ruler of this card, ruled by Neptune. Both of those are like quieter energies. If you can think of the moon, it's usually really quiet in the middle of the night, you know? It's not as loud and bright as the sun. So sometimes it's in those moments of pause when we actually get the biggest download. So don't be afraid to like chill out, take a step back, relax a little bit, and go easy on yourself. And that may be where you're able to alchemize and create the best life for yourself. The Nine of Cups can also talk about a wish being granted, a wish coming true for you. So again, the message I got at the beginning of this reading is like, you're so close, you know, you are so close to achieving a goal, making something happen. Don't give up. Continue on this path and allow it to take you wherever it will. You know, sometimes we just got to trust that process. Like, again, not to harp on it, but I keep thinking, I can't emphasize enough how confused I was when my tutor was like, go watch a movie out. And he was like adamant, you know, because I was like, can I watch a drama? Can I watch a, because I like dramas. I just, maybe it's, I don't know, the Scorpio dominant in my chart, but I don't love comedies. I love a drama more. That's more my speed. Or like a historical movie or something like that. And he was like, no, you're not allowed to watch that. You have to watch a comedy. And he was like, and not even like an intellectual comedy or something smart. It has to be like a dumb slapstick comedy because I want your brain to like turn off. I want you to like chill out as much as possible. And in the moment, I literally thought this was like the dumbest advice I'd ever heard ever. And I was like, okay, but I did it because I was like listening to the rules and I'm a rule follower, I guess. So I did it. And anyway, it ended up working out really well. So sometimes it's that break, that pause, even if it seems a little crazy, even if we're like, oh, I should be doing this. No, sometimes we need that to actually get the best results. Let me go into some of these cards for pile number 1. I want more message cards for you guys. This one says, you cannot make a mistake. There are infinite possibilities available to you. I love that. And I think it's so true. I really think that, especially when we're really listening to spirit, we really can't make a mistake. As long as we are coming from a place of authenticity, we're paying attention to these moon high priestess vibes, and we're really actually listening, then everything is working out for your greatest and highest good. And that's such a great mantra. I say it all the time. Sometimes we don't see how, we don't see exactly, you know, what's going on, but trust and believe that it is. And sometimes the thing that might seem like, what am I doing? This is a mistake, is actually the best path for us to take. So yeah, I think in a way you guys just need to go a little bit easier on yourself. I just feel like pile 1, you guys have been putting yourselves under so much pressure and kind of speaking negatively to yourself, kind of like getting down in the dumps or allowing negative self-talk to take over and to be kind of pessimistic about things. And I really feel like your guides really want you to just be a little bit more positive and expect the best. Again, I don't mean to fixate, but they keep bringing it up. And I guess I just fixate on things in general. But like walking into that exam, I was so chilled out about the verbal section. I was so relaxed. I don't think I've ever taken a test in my life and been less like tied to the outcome. I was like, this literally doesn't matter. And I think when we can get into that mindset, that's literally the best opportunity for results. When we're like, whatever, if it doesn't work out, something else will. If this doesn't work out, there'll be another path. When we can trust that Spirit is taking us towards the perfect destination for us, then that's when we will get there so much faster and so much better and so much easier. Let's get some more cards for pile 1. What messages do we have for pile 1? The collective field is impacting you. Unseen forces in action. And oh, you guys got 2. Okay. Your purpose is personal expansion. And Midas touch, things are working out in your favor. I think that's the second card you got with that message, but I'm not sure. Let me read the messages on each of them. This one says, where is your heart guiding you? This one says, how can you relinquish control of the situation that feels blocked? This one says, how can you be more intentional with your choices and live with more purpose? And finally, in what ways are you abundant right now? So those are some great questions to ask yourself, but I really do feel like everything is working out for you. Oh, I guess things are working out in your favor. That's the mantra I just said. I say that all the time to myself, especially if something like frustrating happened. I repeat it to myself until I believe it. So, I always also think of situations like I remember seeing a bridge collapsed in Florida a few years ago, and it was just so striking to me because it happened in like the middle of the day. And I think not that many people actually passed away from it, though. It looked kind of empty for like, I've lived in Florida. The highways are really, really busy. And I always think that I'm sure there were people like stuck in traffic, someone who might have passed over that bridge seconds earlier and probably would go about their day and never even realize what was going on. Or maybe would like be running late because their wife forgot to make the coffee, or because they overslept through their alarm or whatever, and be like in a bad mood, frustrated about it. And then they get on the highway and they're like, oh my God, that lane is blocked. I can't even go my normal route. Fine, I'll take the highway. And then they might not even realize that the reason that lane was blocked was because the bridge had collapsed. And if they had woken up on time with their alarm, they would have been crushed underneath the bridge. Like, I feel like there's so many stories like that. There's so many stories from disasters or horrible events of people getting a bad feeling before they get on a plane and not getting on it, or, just running late and everything doesn't seem to be working out and they're annoyed with it, but it ends up saving their life. And I always think that we have to trust it even when something is negative or seems negative or just seems like this is so frustrating, that truly it's being done for our advantage. And I do think your guides want you to know that they're very strongly around you, that they are protecting you, they are with you, they are around you. And so I do feel like a lot of you in this pile, you have been thinking some negative stuff. And it's like, I just want you to remind yourself of how everything is going to work out for you, how everything could work out amazingly, and start thinking of the best case scenario, not the worst case scenario. Start thinking of like, how could this be being a positive for me? Not how could this be a negative, but how could this be setting me up for the absolute best thing ever, instead of thinking of it as a negative thing. Because I really do feel pile 1, like you're very close to making something happen. You're very close to a big blessing. And it's almost like if you could look at this as some downtime before the big moment, kind of like that night before the test that I took, the night before the SATs. Again, that night, it honestly stressed me out a little bit to have to watch like a funny movie. Like I was like, oh, I'm wasting my time. Everyone else is studying, But that ended up being the best thing. And I think sometimes Spirit actually wants us to pause, wants us to break, wants us to be rested and relaxed. And that's when the blessing will come down the pipeline, especially if it's been feeling delayed or you're like, why is this taking so long? I don't understand why this has happened like this. Then maybe it's because Spirit wants you to be coming from that place of rest. Maybe it's because Spirit wants you to come from a place of feeling good, feeling positive, enjoying ourselves, trusting the process. And when we get ourselves out of alignment with that, I think it can really make things slow down a lot, make things not happen as easily. So yeah, I think pile one, you guys are so close to some major development, major blessing, major beautiful thing that you've wanted for a really long time. So you need to just start acting as if it's already here, it's already happened, it's guaranteed, it's yours, and need to stop thinking of the ways it could go wrong and start thinking about all the ways it could go right. Start thinking of how Spirit is preparing a beautiful surprise for you, how all your job is to really keep your antenna up. Use your high priestess moon abilities to listen to Spirit, to listen to the guidance from Spirit. I think keeping a dream journal is so great for this. A lot of times when we write down our dreams, we'll see patterns in them that we didn't really notice. We'll read through the, past 10 dreams and we're like, oh my God, this is like the same exact message. It's just different scenarios, but it's the same exact thing. It's the same theme. And that's a message for us. That can be a message for our destiny, or we can meditate on it. We can ask Spirit to show us things before we go to sleep or before we go into meditation. So all we have to do really is to get into a place of receptivity, get into a place where we can listen, where we can hear what Spirit wants from us. And then, like I said, trust the process and allow it to just flow from us, allow it to wind its way through, and just know that it is happening for our biggest advantage, for our favor, and that it's not working against us, it's working for us. So yeah, I think that's what I have for you guys. Pile one, I really hope it resonated. If it did, I always love hearing from you guys in the comments, knowing what you guys think. So please let me know. Also make sure to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and if you want to see more of my stuff, then head to my Patreon. I just posted one all about an early love, early dating relationship reading. So it's perfect for someone you just started dating or you're new in love with, you guys aren't super serious yet. That's a great one for you to listen to. But as soon as you sign up for Patreon, you get access to over 60 readings. And there's readings about love, career, money, spirituality, so many different topics. So I would love to have you join us over on Patreon, and you can sign up now at the link underneath the timestamps and the comments in the description. And if you want to get a private reading with me, you can also get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com. You can sign up for a half hour or a full hour reading with me. I think I'm doing readings this weekend. So yeah, if you want a reading with me, then just go to my website and sign up, and I'm happy to answer whatever questions you have. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I am sending you so much love and light, and I'll be back again very soon with another reading. Take care, guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye. Hey, Pile 2, welcome to your reading. So let's get some message cards for you and start out seeing what messages your spirit guides have for you. So we got embracing enthusiasm, shout to the heavens with happiness, okay? Traveling lightly, simplify your life. And let's see what other card we're going to get right now. Protected by angels. You are cherished by the angels. So the first card I'm seeing, the first message I'm getting is for you guys to really pay attention to what sparks joy in you, what makes you feel really good. Sometimes, just like how Marie Kondo was famous for her decluttering your house philosophy, where she said, pick up an item, see if it sparks joy, and if it doesn't, discard it, and if it does, keep it. Sometimes we kind of need to do that same inventory in our life, because sometimes we get very involved going through the same routines, the same habits, just living life almost like in a rut, or almost living life just on autopilot. You know, we have certain ideas of certain people in our life that may be important to us, so we're just going to keep them in our life, even though every time we talk to them, they stress us out. Or I haven't talked to this person in a while, and even though I'm feeling called that I should call them, should reach out to them, I'm just going to let sleeping dogs lie and I'm not going to do that. Or from daily routines, daily habits, and we don't really think about, is this really bringing me a joyful life? Is this really making me genuinely happy? Is this really adding things to me? And even, does this have a long-term value to me? You know, sometimes we get into a routine of doing something that could be kind of pointless. I don't believe that anything is like truly pointless. I believe everything we're doing is like gathering data and, you know, is coming into play for us somehow, but maybe it's not the most valuable way to spend our time to like swipe through TikTok for like 7 hours, you know, or to come home from work and literally just start playing video games for a really long time. Sometimes maybe our time would be better spent if we have a goal of like writing a book, trying to write, you know, even 200 words of it a day, setting that as like a goal for ourselves. I am going to write every day, or I am going to, you know, go work out at the gym every day because that's a goal I have for myself. Or maybe not even every day, maybe once a week going to the gym, and that's a big deal for us. Maybe twice a week, 3 times a week. But, you know, it's almost like if we can take ourselves out of, just like I said, that autopilot. Like I find for me, I love to cook, so I can kind of go into not a rut, but like a rut of cooking the same thing, you know, where I just will, like, I have my go-to recipes and I don't really step outside of that. And I think I'm a good cook, but sometimes I'll go out to like a different restaurant with cuisine I've never had before and I'll try that and I'm like, "Oh my God, this is amazing. It tastes so good." Like you know, whenever I do that, I am so glad that I brought in my horizons and I've tried a new dish, or I've tried a soup I would never have had, or a flavor I never would have had. And I think in life, we kind of have to make that effort, you know, because it can be very easy just to become super limited to like our life, our neighborhood, our same grocery store, or the same restaurant we go to every time and we order the same thing. Um, you know, the TV show we watch, or swiping through social media, whatever. And it's so funny how like there's this whole broad, wide world out there that sometimes we never even experience. Kind of like traveling but never leaving the hotel room, which sometimes can be really nice and have its like appeal. But, you know, I think sometimes in life it does require us to like push ourselves out of our comfort zone a little bit, try something new. Maybe it's gonna look a little bit different than you thought. And for some of you guys, I'm hearing this maybe like a goal you've been going after, and maybe you felt a little stagnancy in it. Maybe you felt like you're trying for something in your life, but it's just not happening on the timeline you thought, or it's not happening in the way you had imagined. And then sometimes something for us to do is to kind of question, like, well, is there a way for me to pivot? Would there be a different way to do this that is going to be more efficient? Sometimes it's not even a matter of fully figuring it all out, but it's just trying different things, being open to it. It's kind of like you never really know how something is going to happen, or exactly what it's going to look like until you're kind of in the moment, you know? We can envision it, dream it. Like I always think it's interesting, like researching foreign countries beforehand, because it's always just so different to actually be there. Even if you knew what to expect, even if you had an idea of it, the actual reality of being in that country and the way it smells, the different smells in different places, you know, the difference, hearing the actual language in person, tasting the food, all those things are different. The noise on the street, whatever it may be, is always going to be different than whatever we had in our mind. Even the most vivid imagination can't compare to actually living it. So sometimes I think, you know, as much as we may try to hash out a plan or be like, it's going to look like this, it may look a little bit different. And I think something that's really important is just staying open. And like I said, paying attention to what makes us happy, what feels good, letting that be our compass. Like if we do something in our life and we feel fantastic after, that's a really great sign that it's probably good for us, you know? And I'm not talking necessarily about like short-term feelings. Like maybe we'll feel super relieved after smoking a cigarette, but it's not good for our health. But maybe in a way, if you're smoking like purely natural tobacco and I don't know, it's really taking all your stress off, who knows? I think that ultimately life is really about finding out what we like, what is good for us, what we enjoy, and then seeking those things out and not necessarily holding ourselves to someone else's idea of success or someone else's idea of what we should do for us, making sure that we continuously check in with ourselves to be like, yeah, this aligns with me, with what I want for my life, and making sure that we do that. So I feel like some of you guys are just being told to really take stock of how you spend your time, what you do with your life, your daily routine, and making sure that it really is serving you, making sure that this is a schedule or a life that truly makes you feel amazing and makes you feel that enthusiasm, makes you feel really good. And if it's not, taking a step back. This can definitely be people as well. I know for me, there's been times when I've like gotten sucked into just relationships. I'm not just talking about like romantic, although it can be that as well, where it's like you kind of, next thing you know, you're friends with someone, or next thing you know, they're texting you a lot and you're responding and you're like, I feel kind of drained, but we're in the same friend group, so I'll hang out with them. And I think it's really important to know that we can put up boundaries at any time. No one really, we don't have to engage with someone if we feel drained by them. We don't have to continuously feel pressure to respond to someone's text if it's just kind of making us feel stressed out, or we don't feel like they're treating us with a whole lot of respect. We don't have to like continue following someone on social media if it feels like energetically not the best to us. It's okay to like unfollow. It's okay to not respond to texts. It's okay to kind of put up boundaries in some way, or be like, no, sorry, I can't come to your birthday. Sorry, I wish I could, and just say no to things. So I feel like for you guys, this is kind of like a message about being very careful and deliberate with where you spend your energy, making sure that it's going in the right direction, making sure that it's not just being randomly wasted on people or things or habits that don't really serve you. Let me get one more message for pile number one, pile two. Pile two, message from pile two spirit guides. What do you want pile two to know? Surrendering to the journey, release control. I love that as well, because I think, like I said, sometimes we can, like, I know for me, I love to cook, and one of the reasons I do love to cook is because I love to control what I'm eating. I love to know exactly, what I'm cooking, and be able to control the ingredients and have it be organic and everything I like. But again, sometimes you get invited to like a restaurant or something, and it wouldn't be a normal place you would go. And it's maybe you're not even familiar with the food, but you try it and it's freaking amazing. And then you're like, I'm so glad I had this food. I'm so glad it's totally outside of my normal realm, but I ate it. And it was amazing. And sometimes I feel like we try to control everything, or at least I know I sometimes try to control everything. We try to imagine exactly how a situation is going to look. We try to control the outcome. We try to have this very defined plan. And, it's like that phrase, make plans, God laughs, because sometimes the best things in life are a total surprise, or it's different than how we thought. It looks different, and it throws us for a little bit of a loop. But I think sometimes, like I said, it's so important not to allow yourself to get into the habit of like overly controlling everything. Sometimes it's about just saying yes, or doing something a little outside of your comfort zone, putting yourself out there, and being really like tuned in to how you feel in that moment, because sometimes it'll surprise you. Sometimes you're like, oh, I'm not a city person, I hate being in the city, and then you go visit New York City or something, and you're like, oh my God, I feel so alive, I love this. And sometimes it's funny, I'll tell people things in private readings and they're like, no, I'm not that person, no. And then they'll contact me later and be like, by the way, like, actually, that ended up being right. I know I've done that with other psychics as well. There was one psychic I was thinking about a few years ago who told me something that ended up coming true. And I remember at the time I was like, there is literally no way. It wasn't anything with me, but it was someone I'm very close to in my life about something they were going to do. And I was like, they wouldn't do that. No, 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 they're not going to do that. And I was like, I think I told them like as nicely as I could, but I was like, oh, I don't know. I really hope not. I can't see that. I was trying to be really nice about it, but I was like, no, 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 they must have gotten that wrong. It turned out to be totally true. And I think sometimes we can surprise ourselves. We can be surprised by the decisions we make or the things we like or who we are. You know, we can say like, oh, I would never, no, 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 I would never want to move there, or I would never want to do that, or I would never want to date that person. And then we actually find ourselves there in that relationship, and it's freaking amazing, and it makes us so happy. And that's really all we need to know is like, it makes me happy, because the world will put all other kinds of like judgments on us, like your life has to look like this, you should be doing this, you should have this at this age, but doesn't make you actually happy. That should be your kind of ultimate test. How do I feel in this situation? Am I fulfilled? Am I joyful? Am I feeling beautiful and abundant and satisfied? If we are, then that's a yes, and if not, then it's a no, and we got to pay attention and listen to that. But let's get into some additional cards for pile number 2. What messages do you have? Actually, let me shuffle this again. I shuffled it before, but I just like to, I'm just feeling called to shuffle it one more time. But yeah, I think a lot of you guys, maybe you have been feeling in a rut. Maybe you guys have been feeling stuck, and this is just your message to pay attention to the things that make you feel stuck. Pay attention to how you feel after swiping through TikTok for hours. Pay attention to how you feel after going for a run outside, you know, all those things. And there's not one definitive answer. Maybe you feel super energized after swiping through TikTok and you're supposed to make a TikTok account or something, and that's your sign. Or maybe after going for a run, you feel super exhausted and tired and you don't have those endorphins, and maybe that's your body telling you you need to take a little pause. Again, there's no wrong or right answer, but it's important for us to listen to ourselves. So let's get some more cards for pile number 2 from the tarot. What kind of messages do we have from pile 2 spirit guides? What kind of messages do we have from pile 2 spirit guides? Okay, so we got the 3 of Wands. I don't know why I'm turning that over. The 9 of Wands, the 3 of Wands, and the 8 of Swords. So with the 3 of Wands, this could definitely be new horizons. You guys broadening whatever life experience you're having, literally traveling to new places, trying new foods. The 3 of Wands is kind of like we've already gone through the planning stages and we're ready to embark. It's like that enthusiastic moment where you're like, okay, I think it's happening. We're ready to go. You're still maybe not fully leaned into like actually setting out there, but you're right about to go. And I feel like for you guys, this is your message that if there's something you've been planning or wanting to do or something that excites you, it's almost like the time is now. You don't need to necessarily wait around and you know, bide your time or try to make it perfect or try to plan it. Sometimes it's just about living in the moment, doing things as they come up, you know, feeling like I feel called to do this, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it right now. Not laboring over it in our heads a million times, but just like trusting ourselves, trusting the process, going for it, leaning into it. With the 9 of Wands, some of you guys also may have felt, I do feel like some of you guys in this pile, you have some people around you who are really competitive with you or who don't want to really see you do super well. You might have had people who pretended to be your friend but really weren't, or pretended to be on your side but really weren't. And I do feel like with that 9 of Wands, this is where it's so important to pay attention to how you feel. I notice sometimes if someone's being fake with you, they may be texting you really nice stuff, they may be acting so sweet to your face, but it always feels a little weird, right? It always feels like they don't really mean it. And that's how you can tell, that feeling inside of yourself, that feeling in your gut of like, I feel drained every time I interact with that person. And they may be super friendly, they may be super nice, but we get done talking with them and we feel like we could go collapse on the bed and take a 5-hour nap. That is your indication that that person isn't for you, you know? That's your indication that maybe that person doesn't have good intentions. Or the opposite, we talk to someone and afterwards we feel so agitated. We feel so like out of sorts, stressed out, and just anxious. That's also another indication. So I think this is where it becomes so important to kind of have a baseline in our body. This is why I like to do like a daily meditation, or when I wake up, just sitting in bed and just kind of tuning into yourself and being like, okay, I feel this. This is coming up. This is the emotions. Okay. And just processing through that allows you to pay attention later to like, oh, this thing really disrupted how I was feeling. Regularly checking into your emotions will allow you to process the things in life that make you feel good and the things in life that make you feel bad. But if you don't have like a baseline of like, oh, I normally am this way, or I usually feel that way, then it's hard to even know what's influencing us and what's not. So that's why it's kind of important to like a little bit regularly detox or spend a moment alone just so we can like pause and be with ourselves. This is why I think one of the reasons, there's multiple reasons, but people feel so good after stepping out of the shower because one, they've taken a few minutes to be alone, so their thoughts are coming up, they're kind of like in a receptive open space. Because whenever we're doing kind of mindless activities, whether it's cooking or taking a shower or driving, anything that kind of like we could do on autopilot, that's when spirit can bring us a lot of visions. That's when our mind is very open. We don't have to be doing those things. Like if you meditate regularly, you can access that energy at any time. But for a lot of people, that's the only time in their day when they're not going to be like doing 501 other things, and they'll be able to be receptive. So that's one. And two, literally physically, you're cleansing off the energy with the water. So you're cleansing off accumulated energies that you picked up from other people, that you picked up from situations or places. And so afterwards, people often feel so fresh, renewed after a shower. And it's just because they return to baseline. And the super empowering thing is knowing that as helpful and incredibly valuable as like spiritual bath showers are, if we can regularly tune into ourselves, we don't even like need that. Of course we need to shower like daily because it's like healthy, but it's like if we can check in with ourselves on a daily basis, on a spiritual level, we can access that energy at any time. We don't need anything outside of ourselves to bring us to that place of peace and calmness and contentment. So if we can, like I said, have a regular practice of that, that makes a huge difference. Let's get into some more cards for pile number 2. What messages do we have from pile 2 spirit guides? So we got the Two of Pentacles. I really feel like Spirit's kind of like calling you to make some changes in your life. And yeah, Hanged Man as well. Maybe step outside of your comfort zone in some way. Maybe try something new. If there's something you've been thinking of doing and you've been a little nervous about it, or a little wondering how it's going to work out or how it's going to look, I feel like this is a strong message that you should lean into it and follow that enthusiasm. Follow those things that when you think about them, it gets you all excited and you're like, oh, that would be so cool if that worked out, or like, I can't wait to try that, or oh, I'm kind of nervous, but that would be amazing. That's something to pay so much attention to. And with the Chariot, it is really inspired action. It's really taking your will and driving it into some specific direction. It's not just waiting for things to like flow your way. It's being like, yeah, I'm doing this. I'm embracing it. I'm taking it on. I'm leaning in, I am going full force, and I'm not going to stop or hold myself back. I am just going for it. So, yeah, I think there's something, in your life that maybe needs to be removed or changed, a difference in scene, a different routine, something that I feel like you guys are being called to really take the reins and end. Because I do find sometimes, like doing private readings and stuff, someone will be like, oh, yeah, well, I know that person's toxic, but I mean, what am I supposed to do? Like, and it's like, stop texting them, stop engaging, like that's the thing is I think so many times people don't even realize like how much power they have. They really give so much power away to other people. And you see it in reading so many times. And I get it. I've been there. I'm not judging. But someone will be like, well, I mean, I don't know what to do because my boyfriend, he just always blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, but the thing is you don't have to be with him, you don't have to put up with that. And I think sometimes we wait for things to like fall into our lap. We wait for ourselves to get some magical job opportunity, or for some amazing person to come in and sweep us off our feet, or for our bodies to suddenly just magically change, when the reality is we're the only ones who can like make that change for ourselves. And of course there's sometimes extenuating circumstances, like someone who's working two jobs and they don't have the time to be spending on LinkedIn sending out their resume, or the person who's in a very like controlling relationship and may feel stuck because of coercive control and stuff. So I get that. I'm not judging, but I just feel like so many of us need to remember that we are actually the ones in control. We have our own authority. We don't need to defer to anyone else or give that power away. And it's the most amazing and incredible feeling when we remind ourselves that this is our life and we're the ones who hold the reins, and we get to go wherever we want to. We get to do whatever we want to. So if something feels good to us, we can follow that. And if it feels bad, we don't have to keep doing it. We don't have to keep forcing ourselves. Like, I notice that as well. Sometimes someone will be like super into exercise and they'll be like, well, I've been feeling really exhausted lately. I've been feeling really tired, but I have to work out a few times a day, or I have to work out every day or a few times a week, and I have to do this, and I have to get my miles in on the treadmill. And it's like, why? If you're feeling burnt out and your body is feeling exhausted, that's all you need to know. That's your body sending you a really strong message. Then stop doing it, you know? Or if you're, you know, feeling really sluggish and you're eating really unhealthy foods, then you can stop eating that and eat something that makes you feel good, you know? Or if you're in a job that drains you, relationship that drains you, living situation that's horrible, we have so much power and authority, more than we ever realize. And if we really feel stuck, we can also ask our guides to intervene, to get us out of a situation, to help us, to show us a path out. But really reclaiming your own power is the best feeling in life, and I think you guys really need to remember that. So let's get into some of these message cards for pile number 2. What messages do we have for pile 2? Uncovering treasure. Beneath the surface lies a great bounty. I feel like some of you guys in this pile, you're being called to like pivot or try something new and be really bold with it. And it's almost like there may be a lot of potential in this new endeavor that you're being called to do. There may be a lot more success beyond what you could have ever imagined. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I'm pulling from the same deck. But anyway, maybe this card really needed to come out. Maybe there is a new endeavor or something that you guys need to be doing that is going to bring you so much joy, so much happiness, and so much more success than you could have ever imagined. Again, this is why I think it's really important to just kind of trust the process and to be like, you know what, I'm going to give this a shot. Even if I don't really see how it works out, I know it feels good to me, so that's what I'm going to do. I know it's what I'm being called to do, so I am going to step in and really fully embrace it. So yeah, sometimes it's just a matter of allowing something to happen and pursuing those things that we're already getting that flashing green light in our mind, and not like second guessing and sabotaging it. Let's get into some of these message cards, which is the ones I meant to pull from. Come together, we need each other. Okay, and this message says, where have you been separating yourself or pushing against others and the world? What messages do you have for pile 2, Spirit? Pile 2. Breathe. This moment matters most. How can you focus on the moment and appreciate all that is well? So again, I feel like there's that kind of meditation vibe when we take time to do breath work, or to meditate, or to just spend a few moments a day being calm, even writing in a journal, but just kind of checking in with ourselves, relaxing. Then, like I said, we have that baseline of like, I'm upset because of this, and that's why I'm acting weird, or that's why I'm feeling stressed, or that's why I'm like in a negative mood. It's because this happened. Then at least we can like manage it and know what it is and not be just completely controlled by it, you know? So I think this may be a call to do some meditation or to do some breath work if that's something you guys have been thinking of doing. Let's get some more message cards for pile number 2. So we got, turn your worry into wonder, surrender to the experience. What possibilities can you dream into reality? And let's get one more. This one says, deep inward journey, you will be rewarded for the work. How can you alchemize your fear? So, yeah, if there's something that you've been feeling called to do, but it's maybe making you a little bit afraid or stressed or nervous about it, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Sometimes the big endeavor, the best thing for us, is something that if we allowed ourselves to overthink it and get in our head, yeah, all these worries would come up, all this negativity would come up. If we can stay in that pause, in that feeling of like, no, it just feels good in my body. Literally, so much of knowing if something is for you is how it feels in your body. This is why it's so great to be in touch with your body and know how your body feels and have that calm connection to your body. Because then we can really notice, oh, this is making me feel excited. Oh, this is making me feel giddy and good and so happy. That's a green flag. And this is making me feel stressed, nervous in a bad way. That's a red flag. But sometimes being a little bit fearful of a situation or just having adrenaline up about a situation, that's not necessarily a bad thing on its own. We have to make sure that that fear is really coming from ourselves, coming from our intuition, and not just like our mind playing tricks on us, And that's why I think body work, being in touch with our body, feeling, allowing ourselves to feel, allowing ourselves to really take a moment to pause and to get in touch with those things is really key to our intuition and to knowing what's for us and knowing what isn't for us. So, yeah, I think a lot of you guys are being called to like do something bold, trust the process, and that there's a lot of potential here, even if it might, feel like stepping outside of your comfort zone, even if it might feel like you kind of are getting the jitters about it. Again, if it feels good to you in your body, if it gives you enthusiasm, then that's a definite green flag. So I really hope that resonated, pile two. If it did, let me know in the comments. I love hearing from you guys, hearing your thoughts and stories. So please let me know. Also, make sure to give this reading a thumbs up, hit the like button, and subscribe. That really helps the channel. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to see more of my content, head to my Patreon. I just posted a reading all about an early love dating situation. So if you just started dating someone, that's a really great one to watch, to tune into their energy and see how they're feeling for you. But as soon as you sign up for my Patreon, you'll get access to over 60 additional readings about love, spirituality, career, so many different topics. And if you guys want to get a private one-on-one reading with me, you can also get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com. You can sign up for a half hour or a full hour long session with me, have me pull tarot for you, read your astrology, channel mediumship or intuitively for you. So if you would like to get that, then go to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link for that is in my description. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am sending you so much love and light, and I'll be back again very soon with another reading. So take care, guys, and I'll see you then. Bye. Hey, pile three, welcome to your reading. So let's get some message cards for you. Okay, we want to know what messages we have from pile three's spirit guides. What messages do we have from pile three's spirit guides? View from above, get the big picture. Okay. Finding sanctuary, opening to your spiritual source. Grace and gratitude. Through gratitude, joy expands. And let's get one more. Discovering truth. You stand in the light of truth. So what's coming to my mind with all of this is sometimes it can be really easy to get bogged down with like the small little things in life, the small annoyances, the person who cuts us off in traffic or is rude to us in stores, or even sometimes getting frustrated, even if things are going well, with like, oh, well, I want this bigger thing. And it's so important to really control our mind and focus on the big picture, focus on where we're headed, what we're doing, the important things for us to be paying attention to, knowing that all the thoughts we think create our reality, knowing that whatever we're feeling now is going to help create the blueprint for what we're feeling later. Knowing that if something feels really negative in this moment, then if we stay in that super negative energy, then we'll be feeling negative in the future as well. And so sometimes it's really important to kind of pan out and get that bird's eye view and not allow ourselves to get bogged down with the little minutia, the little details of every day. And sometimes that can even be as simple as like processing and focusing on where we're at right now versus where we've been. So much of the time we focus on like, but I want this, but I want that, but I should be blah, blah, blah. Not focusing on like, where did we come from? Where were we a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago? What kind of growth have we gone through? How have we improved ourselves? How have we gotten better at certain skills? How does our life look different? What kind of changes have we made? And kind of giving ourselves props and recognition of all the things that we have done in a positive way for ourselves. So I think it's really key and crucial that, like I said, we control our mind. I love this card. Through gratitude, joy expands. So sometimes it can just be as simple as like making a list of 10 things we're grateful for. That can really, the energy of gratitude is so high vibrational, and that can truly change, a trajectory we're on, something we're dealing with. If we can just focus on the things we're grateful for, the good things in our life, the positive things, that can really change what's going to happen next. It can take us out of a funk. Even something as simple as like going for a walk around our neighborhood, or taking ourselves to a cute little cafe nearby and ordering a cupcake for ourselves. Literally anything to kind of like reframe the day, put ourselves into a new vibe, a new mood, a new energy, can be so positive. So yeah, I think for you guys, this is just kind of that call to give yourselves a little bit of credit for, like I said, how far you guys have come, where you guys have come from, and not allowing yourselves to get super fixated with the tiny little details, focusing on, like I said, the person who was rude to us or something that's not working out, focusing on instead on all the things that are working out. Let me get into some tarot though for pile number 3. What tarot cards do we want to give pile number 3 from pile 3 spirit guides? We got the 4 of Wands, okay. And the 4 of Wands is definitely that really celebratory. Look how many positive cards you're getting, pile 3. See, I'm telling you, things are working out for you, even if it doesn't feel that way right now, even if it can be hard to keep track of it. With the 4 of Wands, this can really be a card about celebration. And I think this is a spiritual practice that I have been doing for a while, and I don't think I've heard of anyone else doing it, so maybe it's completely crazy. But one thing I do is, if I want to like bring in some event or I want to celebrate something, I might do something like bake myself a little cake, or, have myself like a little party, like celebrating that moment. So if I'm like, oh, I want to manifest this, then I will try to start celebrating it and literally, blowing out candles, or, having a little bottle of champagne, or like getting balloons or something, you know what I mean? So it literally can feel like a party. Sometimes it can even be a high vibrational thing to tell people something. If you're working on manifesting and say you're never going to see this person again, this probably will make me sound crazy or like a liar, but like say you meet someone and you're never going to see them again. Maybe you're meeting them randomly at like a party and you're not going to keep in touch or whatever, or whatever situation, telling them something like that you're trying to manifest. I know that sounds so crazy. People are probably going to say I'm like pathological liar, but I wouldn't do this unless I'm like doing it on purpose to manifest. So if someone's like, oh, I don't know, what are you, like maybe you have a fitness goal. Maybe you're like, oh, I really want to become certified in doing Pilates or yoga or something. You could meet someone at a party, and if they're like, oh, like, how's your week going? You could be like, oh, I just got my yoga certification. Yeah, I'm really excited. Now, I know that sounds crazy, and I know people are probably going to be mad about that, but something about like claiming something as if it's already there, like, if you want to become something with your career, if you're like, oh, I really want to become promoted to the manager position, you could tell someone, again, that you meet out at a store and you're never going to run into them again. Like, oh yeah, so I'm the manager of this. Yeah, I'm the manager of this blah 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 place. Yeah, I just got promoted. And maybe they'll tell you like, oh, congratulations. And you can be like, thank you. That's so nice. You know what I mean? So I know that may sound crazy, and we don't have to involve anyone else into it. But I think honestly, part of it is just putting yourself into that mindset. Like I know one time I was trying to manifest an apartment, and at the time I was like traveling a lot, and I kept trying to manifest this apartment. A specific like apartment in LA. I wanted like this perfect apartment. And at the time I was like traveling, and it was way harder. I had put that as like a goal of like I'm gonna get a place in LA, and I was like spending time in Vegas and stuff because I was like, oh, I'll just drive in, find places, and I'm gonna find an apartment in like 2 weeks. So this will be perfect. I can actually see the place, and then I'll get to spend time in Vegas, which I love Vegas. And then it ended up dragging on so much longer. And I really feel like that experience taught me a lot about manifestation. So what I started doing is telling everyone, because the LA market is really competitive, telling everyone, like, yeah, that I live in LA and that I have my, oh, I love my apartment. Yeah, it's so great. I just, it's all the things I wanted. I had a list of like quiet, big ceilings, lots of light, safe, and really quiet. I need it like really quiet, which is hard in LA. So I would tell them that. I would be like, yeah, it's so safe. It's just the perfect community for me. I love it. I love it. And it's, I just have these really big ceilings. And and I know this may sound crazy, but that was my way of trying to manifest it and make it happen. And I was not trying to lie to them, but I was trying to make it into a reality, make that so deep into myself and experience and embody that feeling of already having it. So again, maybe call me crazy, but I think that that truly does work. I think sometimes when we can embody it, when we can like claim it, when we can fully lean into it and be like, this is mine, no, I have this already, then that's a great way to bring that into our life. And so with the Four of Wands, sometimes it can be celebrating something before it's there, literally getting so excited for yourself and being like, I did it, I did that, woohoo, this happened for me, even if you're not there yet, even if you don't see the apartment yet. And at the time I was kind of getting stressed. I was like, why is this taking so long? Why can't I find this place that I have in my mind? And then I found a really great apartment, and it was really perfect. And I think a big part of it is like that energy shift where I just got to the point where I was kind of like sick of explaining everything to everyone. So I'd just be like, yeah, I'm in LA. And then I was like, well, this is kind of like a great way to embody that energy. And then I started doing that more and being like, yeah, I love my apartment. It's so fantastic. It's amazing. And I started noticing that like my energy felt more aligned with it the more I said it. So I'm not saying like lie to everyone. You don't want to be known as like a pathological liar. But like I said, if it's someone you're never going to meet again and it's kind of harmless and they're not going to know that you lied, you might do it as like an exercise in, like I said, manifestation and claiming that energy. And it's like, in a way, maybe this is my Pisces side speaking, and this is why everyone says Pisces are delusional. But I do think in a way, like we know that timelines are, adjustable and different timelines exist at once. So there is a true timeline where you already have that perfect apartment that you want, right? There is a timeline where you have whatever you're trying to manifest with your career. There is a timeline where you have that perfect relationship that you want. So it's not, again, I know this is probably peak Pisces delusion, but I don't think it's a lie per se. I think it's a maybe different timeline. Maybe you're heading there, you're not there yet, but that's the track you're on and you're going to get there. So it's not a dishonest thing to say that you have your dream house, or that you have that you just got promoted to vice president of your company, or you have the most amazing husband and he's just so sweet and does everything for you. That's not necessarily a lie, even if you're not there yet. Like people are probably gonna like flame me out in the comments and be like, you sound like a crazy Pisces. But you know what? Whatever. You need a little delusion sometimes. And I always mention that Pisces are the wealthiest signs. So it's like, hey, it's working. The delusion works, and then Libra. So both those signs can be very like optimistic look on the bright side, and I think it works out well. So yeah, maybe focus on even if it's not there in the natural right now, maybe you can't see it right now, maybe you don't have evidence of it right now, but that doesn't mean it's not happening, and that doesn't mean it's not yours and it's not already there. Maybe it is already there, but you don't have the physical evidence, but you can still have the spiritual evidence of it. You can still know that it is yours, and you can know that deep in your soul that that is yours. And the more you can claim it, the more you can say it with full belief. Like when I was going around saying like, yeah, I love my apartment, I think at first a little like, oh yeah, I live in, yeah, LA. Yeah, I just put down LA. Because I had like left my old apartment, and then I was like, oh, I'll find a place, and I wanted to see the places first. I was moving to LA from another city, so I couldn't like look at places on the weekend, and I was like, I want to be in LA. So technically, I didn't have an apartment, and I didn't feel like explaining it to everyone. So I was like, should I explain this to every single person or just tell them LA? Yeah, I'm in LA. And then it became something where I was like, well, I could say this with my whole chest. I could say it like with more enthusiasm. I could say, yeah, I have a beautiful place in LA. I love it so much. It's the perfect apartment for me. And I just am out here on vacation, but I love living in LA and I love where I live. And I feel like the more you can say it authentically and really believe it and really say it like with every core of your being, the more chance you have of it happening. So again, I'm not advocating like lying, being delusional and telling people like habitual lies. But I think if you're doing it like selectively and carefully, and you're mostly doing it to manifest that, I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I think that there could be some value in like a manifestation technique with that. And I mean, who's to tell you like that you can't say you're married if you're not? You know what I mean? Like whose business is that? As long as it's not affecting them, you're not causing them any harm, or you're not like getting something out of them and lying to them to get something out, that would be like karmically very bad for you. But as long as it's like you're never going to see this person again, and you don't, they're not playing into that of like, oh, well, you have an apartment, perfect, because I wanted to go into business with you or something, and that would have influenced their decision. You know what I mean? As long as it has no effect on them, then why do they even, why is it necessarily that bad, Okay, so let's get more cards for pile number 3. We got the Tower, the Two of Cups, and the Nine of Swords. So let's first talk about the Empress and the Star, since we kind of glazed over that a little bit. But the Empress is all about owning your own power, owning your own energy. It's all about that Venus energy, beauty, expecting beauty, seeing beauty, and also being that easy energy of laying in repose, knowing something is for you, knowing you don't have to work your tail off to get it, but kind of expecting it to come in for you, expecting it to come in easily. Then we also have the Star card, and the Star card actually comes after the Tower. So it's funny, we got this in reverse order. The Star is that burst of hope after the Tower moment, and it's also the energy of knowing that all Tower moments lead to the Star. So even the worst change or the worst negative thing that's happening is leading us to our greatest and highest good, and ultimately the World card of completion. So even sometimes when we're going through something difficult, with the Nine of Swords, some of you guys may have been stressing out about something lately, staying up late at night, worrying. It's knowing that that thing is a part of the process. It's part of the progression, literally through the major arcana, that leads us to that celebration moment of the World card, leads us to that like full achievement of the thing we wanted. And we have to go through every part of that journey to get there. We can avoid Tower moments by being as authentic and honest. I know that may be contrasting with what I just said, but we have to be honest with ourselves. I think when we can get into trouble, especially with lying, is one, when we lie to convince someone of something, that like to get something out of them, lying to put across an opinion of ourselves, make someone think that we're different than who we are. That's a problem. When we lie to, get money from someone, or to get them to be in a relationship with us or something like that, that's a major karmic problem. as long as we're honest with ourselves, maybe maybe we can convince ourselves that we are getting that apartment. That's not necessarily a bad thing. But I think we have to be honest about how it feels, about the foundation. You know what I mean? Like maybe you're trying to manifest that apartment, but you know deep down it doesn't quite feel right. It feels a little off. It feels a little janky somehow in the energy. It feels like there's an energetic bump in there. Then I don't think we should plow full speed ahead and be like, I'm manifesting that apartment. Then maybe take a step back and collect our energy and see what's going on and see if we can redirect it in a direction that doesn't feel like there's any energetic bumps in it. It just feels like full steam ahead. So I hope that's making sense about the honesty thing. I know it's a complex kind of concept to get across, but I think at the end of the day, what matters the most is our relationship with ourselves and knowing that we're fully aligned with the thing we're trying to manifest, knowing that we fully believe in it, knowing that it fully feels like it's for us, and knowing that this is the thing I truly want, and kind of having that energetic match that is that Two of Cups energy. Because the Two of Cups is really, it is a romantic card, but it's also like matching your energy with someone else's, matching your energy with something you're trying to manifest, that kind of partnership or union. I think that's the best energy to manifest, is when we have the desire, we have the goal, and it also matches up with like physical reality. So it's kind of like we want to manifest a certain career and we're also naturally good at it. We want to manifest an apartment and we also have the good credit, and we also have the enough inventory in the budget to make that happen. We want to manifest a certain type of body, and we're actually taking physical steps in the reality to make that happen. Like I said, like an energetic match to our mindset and what we're thinking of and reality. So it's funny because I think when you're aligned with the thing that really works for you, it's kind of like it doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel bad. It doesn't feel horrible. When we think about it and we just feel super good and it feels fantastic and it feels truthful and it feels honest and it feels genuinely like it's flowing in a positive direction, then that's for us. So for me, when I would think about that apartment, I knew I wanted to be in LA. I knew it felt good. I knew I liked where I was heading, and it didn't feel, even if it may sound, I think what happened is I was actually applying for an apartment, and that was when I started doing that, was at the very tail end. And it was funny because that was really the thing that shifted the mindset, and then everything went through super fast because they were just taking their sweet time approving everything. But anyway, my point is sometimes you've got to check in with the energy and be like, no, this feels good, right? This is moving in the right direction. And as long as it feels good, that's your kind of green flag of like, yes, keep going on this, keep moving forward. And if it feels a little bumpy, or it feels kind of off, or it doesn't feel quite that good, or I'm wanting this, but I don't really believe it, or it just, I don't know, then that's a no. And sometimes it stinks accepting that no, or sometimes it's not even about taking it as a full no, but it's about redirection. It's about, okay, let me approach it this way. Let me come around through that direction. Let me try to change my energy up so it's more of an energetic fit. But either way, I think we can avoid this tower moment by making sure our energy is really, really aligned, and making sure that whatever we're asking for, whatever we're looking for, feels like it's wanting us, feels like it's a good fit, because that's what the Two of Cups is. It's two people who are so enthusiastic for each other. Both of them are wanting the other. Both of them are tuned in, and it's like an energetic yes from both sides. Let me get into some of these message cards for pile number 3. What messages do we have for pile number 3 from their spirit guides? What messages do we have for pile number 3 from their spirit guides? So we got the universe rewards motion. What guided action can you take today? And that's what I love about the Four of Wands, is it's really a card about an actual celebration, actually welcoming it in, actually doing it. Sometimes we can get in our head about manifesting something, but we don't take action. We don't do anything. We don't try to move forward with it. And so much of life is about, like I said, wanting to manifest a certain body type, but not taking any steps towards that. Like if we want to gain weight, taking steps to eat a little more calories. If we want to build muscle, making sure we actually went to the gym. If we want to lose some weight, having less calories. But are we actually, the vision we have in our mind, is that matching the reality? Like, it would have been kind of crazy if I was going around telling everyone, oh, I have an apartment in LA, but I didn't have anything of the sort, and I wasn't applying, and I wasn't looking, and I had no intention to move to LA. You know what I mean? You've got to manifest something, and yes, put it in your heart and claim it as yours. But then what steps are you taking to actually do that on a daily basis? Are you actually waking up and going about it? Are you, thinking about it, dreaming on it, and not actually taking any steps? Are you wanting to write a novel and you keep thinking of the idea in your mind, but you didn't actually write anything down ever? All those things, I think, are examples of maybe the manifestation is there, but then we've also got to match that with the reality. It's got to be that energetic match. It's got to be looking at this star, but not just looking at it from a distance, actually walking towards it, actually following that little path towards the star. So it's kind of like Spirit will put the vision of the possibilities in our mind and give us that guidance of like, hey, this is how you can go about it. This can be yours. This little desire I put in your heart, hey, you could have this, but we are the only one who can take the steps to actually make that happen and make it be a physical reality for us. Let's get some more cards for pile number 3. So we got turn your worry into wonder, surrender to the experience. Okay, and we get another. This one says rest, renew, recharge. What does your body crave and need right now? And final message is you create your own reality. What you want wants you to. I love that. And that's kind of what I was talking about with the Two of Cups, is like, you can feel when something feels energetically in alignment with you. You can feel when you're at that job and you're so drained every day after work and you feel exhausted and it's the worst feeling. Or you can feel when maybe you're tired after work, but it feels like exhaustion in a good way. It feels like you're serving your destiny. It feels like this is right. It feels like an energetic yes. And it feels like this thing is kind of welcoming you in as well, you know? It feels like it's a resonance. It feels like magnetism. That's how we can know that we're on the right path of manifestation. That's how we can know that this thing is for us. When it feels like there's an easiness there. Doesn't mean it's going to be completely easy and it's just going to fall into our lap, but it should feel like it's not trudging through like quicksand. You know what I mean? And after we do whatever this is, whatever we're working on, trying to bring in, we should have a feeling of feeling good, you know? Even if we're tired, even if we're a little exhausted, it should feel like it resonates with our spirit in a positive way and like we like the direction we're heading to. We shouldn't leave work feeling dejected, feeling awful, leave a relationship or talking to someone we're in a relationship with feeling drained and like, I can't believe I had to talk to them. We're always fighting. All those signs, the feeling we get afterwards, the feeling in our body is so important for deciding what's for us and what isn't for us. And there's also that message of getting enough sleep, making sure that you guys aren't allowing your worries or stress to keep you up late at night. If you're worried or stressed about something, it can sometimes just be a message that you need to pivot, change your energy, or even redirect your path completely. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a good thing, and it's going to put you in better alignment. And if we can trust that process and know that it's all working out for our greatest and highest good, we're supposed to be aligned with the best thing for us. And so if it's not for us and it's not resonating in that way, that it's not supposed to, then that allows us to have the greatest level of freedom and to manifest the best timeline, the best outcome for ourselves. So yeah, I think that is what I have for you guys. Pile 3, I really hope it resonated. If it did, let me know in the comments. I always love hearing from you guys. I'd love to know your thoughts. Make sure also to like, subscribe, turn on notifications. That really helps the channel. And if you want to see more of my content, then head to my Patreon where I post all my additional readings. I just posted one all about early dating relationships. So someone you just started dating, early love, That's a great one if you want to see how they're feeling for you. But as soon as you sign up, you'll get access to over 60 additional readings about love, spirituality, career, so many different topics. So if you want to join, head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments and the description, and I would absolutely love to see you there. But thank you guys for watching. Also, if you want to get a reading with me, you can get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com. You can sign up for a half hour or a full hour-long session with me, have me pull tarot for you, read your astrology, channel for you, and ask me what you would like to ask me. So yeah, if you want that, like I said, head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link is in my description for that as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am sending you so much love and light, and I'll be back again very soon with another reading. Take care, guys. Bye.